Welcome back. Tuesday lunchtime. I want to return now to our lead story. Medical aid schemes have discriminated against black doctors. The finding from an interim report into the industry, an urgent interdict to have the report's release blocked, was dismissed earlier today by the High Court in Pretoria. The application was made by the Government Employees Medical Scheme, we know it better as GEMS, and the Board of Healthcare Funders. From the Board of Healthcare Funders, with instant reaction now, the MD, Dr. Katlego Mothudi. Good afternoon to you and welcome. How then are you assessing the decision by the court today, and do you believe that that report is flawed?
The decision to try and interdict the report was never around what the intention is. We recognize the negative impact that the allegations made by the doctors as well as the fraud has on the industry. We were just trying to address a gap in procedure that was agreed to. And I'm sure you had it ventilated that we believe that the named parties should have been given a chance to actually respond before the publication of the report. But having said that, we will follow what the laid out process is, in that in the following 6 weeks there will be a chance for the named parties to comment. What the panel found, and they detailed it in 3 areas. The first one is around the allegations of racial discrimination. I must say at the outset that the BHF will not endorse any of its members having these practices deliberately, and that's something that needs to be addressed. And the second issue is around procedural difficulties that may have led to this, and also how doctors encounter the medical aid industry, and also then the issue of oversight. So we'll allow and support our members to give input once they've received the full report and respond to each of the findings that have been detailed.
Dr. Mothudi, why do you believe this bias is so prevalent? And obviously you accept then that things in the industry need to change. Where are the building blocks?
I think we must admit that it's a very complex industry, and even most of us who've been in the industry for a while, we still have to often look at how certain processes are not clear. And if it's not clear to people who are involved in it, and the panel, I think, also saw that for those people who are on the periphery, the doctors and even the beneficiaries, it's even more complicated. So it is important that the structural challenges that have been faced must be looked at. What it will require is that we should not approach this from the opposite ends, but rather solve them together, because the intention really is to make sure that healthcare is accessible. I think Advocate Tembeka, in one of the examples he gives, is that some of the sanctions could have led to a lack of access to members, and that is never the intention. So it's important that we look at what the report says and make sure that the structural challenges are addressed adequately.
But having had a cursory look at some of the findings myself, you will also agree that some of the medical aid schemes, given the practices that have been outlined, need to be hanging their heads in shame, surely.
Yeah, I think some of the things, and I think it was said that it doesn't look like it was intentional, but because of how things are structured, those are not acceptable. So everybody needs to go back, whether we even review our perception of what the law says and what it entitles any one of the structures to be able to do, and try and correct things. It cannot be correct that one sector actually feels bullied or that we appear to be denying access, because that can never be the intention of any of the schemes or the administrators.
All right, thank you for joining us. The Managing Director of the Board of Healthcare Funders, Dr. Katlego Mothudi.